Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, why should corrupt ministers, chief ministers, or even in the future a corrupt prime minister be spared, and why should they continue in office? At 9 p.m. this evening, why I believe, and it's part of my campaign, India Be Vigilant, why I believe it's Bharat on the one side versus potentially the American deep state on the other. The debate tonight is about the 130th Constitution Amendment Bill, ladies and gentlemen, under which the Prime Minister, the Chief Minister, or any minister in any state or central government, if arrested and if they are in jail for more than 30 days, automatically on the 31st day, even if they refuse to resign, will lose their jobs as ministers. The idea is to separate those who are accused of serious offenses and hold serious office from the process of governance. The idea to instill a moral compass in politics, the idea to make political authority beyond suspicion, the idea to rebuild constitutional trust, and the idea to solve the constitutional problem of no option, ladies and gentlemen. The Prime Minister says that if anybody is imprisoned for more than 50 hours, if the person is a government employee, he or she automatically loses their job. If it's a driver, a clerk, a peon, or even an officer. But if it's a chief minister, a central minister, cabinet minister, they can continue, ladies and gentlemen, according to the Prime Minister, in government even when they are in jail. Now, in introducing this amendment, the Prime Minister's position is exactly opposite to that of the emergency-style, very tyrannical Indira Gandhi. When Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister, she brought in a change, which was the 39th Amendment, which put the election of the Prime Minister and Speaker of the Lok Sabha outside of the judicial scrutiny. On the contrary, Prime Minister is bringing in a bill which, if it becomes an act, will cover the office of the Prime Minister as well. And even the Prime Minister of India will be automatically removed from his post in case he is arrested for more than 30 days. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. But there are pros and cons. I'll list 3 pros and 2 cons, ladies and gentlemen. The first is, the biggest positive of this bill is that it ensures continuous governance. It will ensure the functioning of the government and delivery of public services will continue uninterrupted. It will also fix accountability, ladies and gentlemen, because 46% of MPs in 2024 face criminal charges. 21% of these are serious charges like rape, murder, crimes against women. This will ensure accountability, the 130th Amendment. It will also ensure that citizens and officials are treated equally before the law. If an officer or a clerk or an accountant in the government is removed, if they are arrested for 30 days or 20 days or even 2 days, the ministers will not be treated in a separate category. And that's great. In that sense, it strengthens democratic integrity. It reinforces the democratic framework of the country by ensuring that the rule of law applies uniformly, protecting institutions from the misuse of power. But there are also some cons, ladies and gentlemen, I must highlight. The cons are, will it go against the principle of innocent unless proven guilty? Will it lead to small periods of political instability? Who will become a chief minister? Suppose Kejriwal was in office, jail for 9 months, and the 31st day, if he was removed, who would take over? Would it create a power vacuum for a while? And will it lead to center-state vendetta politics? Will it become an incentive for politicians to jail politicians? Will jail or arrest be used as the latest and most obvious case, or reinforced as an obvious case of putting pressure of one politician against the other? You see, viewers, there is no change that is completely 100% perfect. But I support what the Prime Minister is bringing in, because I believe we need to send a message to politicians that if they are corrupt, they are not beyond being removed from office. This kissa kursi ka, this sort of movement where you stick to the chair, regardless of the charges against you, can no longer be allowed. Later, I will be speaking to the fantastic Harish Salve on the subject, but here's a small summary of where this political debate stands.
This bill stands that fundamental maxim of jurisprudence on its head. It makes an investigating officer the boss of the Prime Minister of India.
मैं इस बिल को संयुक्त समिति को सौंपने की दरखास्त करने वाला हूं।
This bill is to bring morality in politics. Can I ask a question to the Honorable Home Minister?
जब तक मैं कोर्ट से निर्देश नहीं हुआ, कोई संविधान पद मैंने स्वीकार नहीं किया। BNS 152, the Home Minister promised in this House that suggestion would not be used.
माननीय सदस्यगण, मैं आपसे आग्रह करता हूं कि संसद की मर्यादा गरिमा को मत गिरने दो।
The battle of the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill is now even more heated.
जो जेल जाए उसने कुर्सी छोड़नी चाहिए कि नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए? क्या वो कुर्सी पर बैठे रह सकता है क्या? क्या वो सरकारी फाइलों पे साइन कर सकता है क्या? क्या जेल में से कोई सरकार चला सकता है क्या?
While the Parliament sent the bill to a JPC, expected to give a report by the first week of the winter session, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today, for the first time, broke his silence on the new anti-corruption measure.
अगर किसी छोटे सरकारी कर्मचारी को 50 घंटे तक हिरासत में रख दिया तो अपने आप वो सस्पेंड हो जाता है। लेकिन अगर कोई मुख्यमंत्री है, कोई मंत्री है, कोई प्रधानमंत्री है, तो वो जेल में रह करके भी सत्ता का सुख पा सकता है। ये कैसे हो सकता है? नेताओं का अगर यही रवैया रहेगा तो ऐसे भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध लड़ाई कैसे लड़ी जा सकती है?
Not just that, the Prime Minister also took a barbed jibe at the Congress and the RJD in Bihar for the opposition to the bill.
ये आरजेडी और कांग्रेस वाले कोई बेल पर बाहर है, कोई रेल के खेल में अदालत के चक्कर लगा रहा है, और जो जमानत पे बाहर घूम रहे हैं भी आज इस कानून का विरोध कर रहे हैं। इन्हें लगता है कि अगर जेल चले गए तो इनके सारे सपने चकनाचूर हो जाएंगे।
The Prime Minister was not alone in his attack. Union Home Minister Amit Shah took the fight to the DMK at their home turf.
ये डीएमके वाले 130वें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट बिल को ब्लैक बिल कहते हैं। अरे स्टालिन बाबू, ये बिल को ब्लैक बिल कहने का आपको कोई अधिकार नहीं है, क्योंकि आप तो ब्लैक डीड करने वाले मुख्यमंत्री हो, काले काम करने वाले मुख्यमंत्री हो।
India allies are completely opposed to the bill's prospects.
वो हमेशा हुकूमत में नहीं होंगे। आज जो कानून वो दूसरों के खिलाफ इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, कल को वही कानून जो है उनके लोगों के खिलाफ इस्तेमाल होगा। मत करिए। कानून के साथ खिलवाड़ करना इस मुल्क के लिए फायदेमंद नहीं होगा।
The big question remains, why is the opposition nervous about accountability for jailed politicians in constitutional posts?
With us this evening is the most distinguished, Harish Salve. I would consider him one of India's biggest legal eagles and India's top jurist. Harish Salve, big controversy here we have right now in Parliament and outside. The government has suddenly brought in the Constitution 130th Amendment Bill, which says any central or state minister, including Chief Minister or Prime Minister, can be removed if they face allegations of corruption or serious offences and are detained for at least 30 days. You think this Constitution amendment can be misused, is dangerous?
I'm appalled that we need such a constitutional amendment. If you go back to even recent times, since nowadays people are allergic to history, especially if you go back to 1975. So let's go to more recent history. If you go back to, when was it, 1994, 95, 96, the Jain Hawala diaries?
Yeah.
And I must confess, I was appearing for some of the accused. The cases were thrown out at framing of charges stage because it was all based on a diary, and we all, even basic lawyers know a diary is hearsay and without any corroborative evidence is a piece of paper. Yet, people were charged. Nobody was arrested. If you remember, Mr. Advani said this case is frivolous as ever. The day I'm resigning now, he left, I think he even left Parliament or leader of the opposition some post. He said, I will come back the day my name is clear. Everybody did that. Correct? Was that destructive of the basic structure of the Constitution? Or move to 2000, when I was Solicitor General of India. And there was a problem. Lalu Yadav had been arrested, if you remember, Mr. Lalu Yadav. He resigned. And yet, at that time, the CBI, I was being instructed by the CBI to appear in his bail whenever he sought bail. And Arnab, I remember seeing a photograph, long distance lens photograph. His wife was chief minister. He was sitting in the jailer's chair with his feet on the table with a lot of people around him. All the ministers were around him. And they showed me a photograph of all the Lal Batti cars parked outside the jail. That was, I thought, a abuse of democracy. Because if you're not a chief minister, it doesn't mean you put somebody else in the office and you run it from jail. What we have now seen, therefore, is a sharp decline in values from the day people said, if there is a charge against me, I will first clear the charge. 2 days where people say, so what if I'm in jail? In my own subjective opinion, doesn't matter if the Supreme Court has not granted me bail, but in my own subjective opinion, I'm innocent. Therefore, why should I leave office? So it was the Constitution never envisaged. And this is symbolic, Arunab, according to me, a more fundamental shift in the mindset. The Constitution regards public office as a sacred trust, a duty to serve the people. The criticism appears to be more of a assertion of an entitlement. I have earned this office. You can't take it away from me only because I'm arrested. It's like taking away somebody's property only because he's arrested. So I think we need to discuss and reassert what are our basic constitutional values, how are we going to live? I mean, we've seen decline in constitutional values all over the world, so I'm not blaming Indian natives. Across the Atlantic, we all know what's going on every day. So we have in India to rediscover where we are and to rediscover what basic values we must live by. Otherwise, as we always say, democracy is a fragile virtue and it's always work in progress.
Sir,
you allow these values to take hold, we will lose our democracy.
Sir, how do we tackle the basic counter-argument that this constitution amendment removes the presumption of innocence argument, that a person is presumed innocent till convicted?
So you are arrested and put in jail despite you being convicted, right? So let me as a lawyer explain to you what this argument is about. Somebody else asked me this violates natural justice and it is opposed to the presumption of innocence. Natural justice is a right to be heard. You cannot, if you are arrested within, the Constitution provides within 24 hours you will be before a magistrate. So your first step of judicial relief, then the high courts and then the Supreme Court. And what we have is a system in which you lose your liberty only when it is under judicial supervision, refusal of grant of bail. That doesn't run counter to the presumption of innocence. The presumption of innocence is not that you're presumed to be innocent till the last day that you're convicted. The presumption of innocence is the underlying basis on which trials are conducted, i.e., the prosecution must establish your guilt. It is not that you have to establish your innocence. That is why some laws have tilted this. I am a staunch critic of the PMLA law, which has tilted this. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court upheld it. Hopefully, they will have second thoughts about it. But apart from those special laws, the presumption of innocence still holds because it's the prosecution which has to prove your guilt. Even when you're arrested, prima facie, the government has the prosecution has to show that there is a good reason to keep you in custody.
Sir, so Kejriwal was in office despite being in jail for 9 months. According to this, he would have been out in a month.
Yes, he would have had to. I don't know whether the fact that we need such a constitution amendment itself makes me hang my head in shame.
Can't it become an incentive for arrest?
There is no question of incentive for arrest.
If I want to fix my political rival, I will, before he cheated, put him in jail on the pretext of investigation. Sir, counter-argument, you know how independent the lower courts are. It's not difficult to get someone arrested.
Now let's come to the real topic which nobody wants to talk about. Where a common man is arrested, where Arnab Goswami is thrown in jail, there is nobody who screams.
True.
But if a Neta is arrested, oh my God, the system has collapsed.
Correct.
So, and who has made these laws under which all this is happening? It's these very people who are screaming murder today. So, what if today a debate is raised and when should a person be arrested? A person, not a Neta. Why should an Indian lose his most sacred right, the right to liberty? The lowest of the low. A businessman, a journalist, a professional, whoever is being arrested, a worker. Why should he lose his independence? Why should we not bring back Krishna Iyer's bail, not jail adage back? You know how we had to struggle to get you bail. Whereas it should have been granted for the asking. Who corrupted the system? It's those people who are today screaming the loudest about this constitution amendment. So let us not mix our different. If you tell me there is a problem in the courts today, I agree with you wholeheartedly. You've been a victim of that.
So presumably this will also apply to Rahul Gandhi if he's arrested tomorrow in the National Herald case, for example.
Yes.
Then will he have to resign as leader of the opposition?
If he's arrested, if it goes to a court, he will argue this arrest is mala fide, this arrest is motivated. In your case, we did argue, we did succeed. The court gave you bail. I can say 30 days is too little, Indian courts take too long. Okay, the joint committee may say not 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. Or if the case is pending in Supreme Court till such time as the bail case is pending in the Supreme Court. That's fine-tuning. In principle, can you say, I know I have been denied bail, I will be in jail till I'm convicted?
Well, I mean, you know, there are a lot of our MPs who have criminal cases against them who are getting heebie-jeebies.
They won't be affected by this. They are not in office. It's not that you're disqualified. Somebody else was confusing disqualification. This is not a disqualification. You can be under trial. You continue to be a member of parliament. If elections are called, you contest the elections.
You think it'll be upheld by the courts if it goes for challenge? You think?
Well, I don't see on what ground.
Nowadays, everything goes to the courts.
Today, if constitution is being amended to provide a check and a safeguard, what will the Supreme Court say? That we as courts have completely failed in rigorously implementing the law of bail, and that is why people are wrongly kept in jail, so we strike down a constitution amendment. I can understand a criticism saying nowadays the courts are very miserly in granting bail. That's a separate criticism. That's a separate discussion we must have.
But under PMLA, ED, doesn't it take longer to get bail? Naturally, they are worried because of the misuse of the ED, because apparently under PMLA, it is very difficult to get bail below 30 days.
Is ED only misused when a Neta goes to jail? Is ED not misused when a businessman goes to jail?
But Netas say they are more vulnerable to political rivalries from other Netas.
So are we having what about journalists being sent to jail for political rivalries? So if we are having a debate on why the Indian judiciary is not functioning the way it should, I am all for it. Why should we not repair the law in which citizens are not unnecessarily incarcerated? Citizens, I am all for that discussion. But to say that a separate standard must be applied for Neta, a common man goes to jail, doesn't matter. Can you continue as the managing director or chairman of a big company if you're in jail? Can you continue as a civil servant if you're in jail? But when a lawyer say, I will practice from jail, please give me VC facilities, I'll argue for myself from my clients.
You really think a prime minister will come under this? Because you think a prime minister will, apparently you can't file an FIR against the prime minister. Some members of parliament said that a police inspector now has the power to arraign the prime minister of the country. So police inspector, police Raj.
He always had.
Not a prime minister.
Our prime minister today.
Can a SHO file an FIR against the prime minister?
You don't file a FIR against the prime minister. You file an FIR against a person who is allegedly committed an offence, and there is no immunity.
Even if he's a prime minister.
Immunity is from acts in office. Immunity is from acts in office. If a prime minister, and that is why Prevention of Corruption Act, when you say in the discharge of your functions you've done something, you need to get sanctions, etc. Even a prime minister can be prosecuted.
Correct.
And today, if there is an allegation of murder against the prime minister, of course you can. If the policeman will go and arrest him. Yes, there are checks and safeguards within procedural systems to make sure it's not used as an engine of harassment.
Last question here. Last question. I know you are very busy, but last question. If, you know, there are these theories of moral responsibility. Whereas people, if they want to resign, that is their moral responsibility. Issues of personal morality of a public representative are more important than the proposed constitution amendment. Let it be the moral responsibility of Arvind Kejriwal to resign. Let it be the moral responsibility of Manish Sisodia, Satyendra Jain to resign. Why force them?
Why apply the rule to convictions also? A convicted criminal, why should he be disqualified? Let it be his personal morality, he walks out of private life. The point is, if a constitution, if you're going to work a constitution in which a man sitting in jail who has been refused bail by the highest court of the country says, I will run the office of chief minister, what public confidence can you have? Did the constitution ever envisage that a man sitting in jail would enjoy high public office? Once again, Arnab, I come back to this. What is high public office? Is it a duty?
But what is the serious offence, Harish Salve? What if I were to ask you, such a good counter question, Harish Salve, but if I were to ask you as a citizen, can Harish Salve tell me what defines a serious offence? You've left this ambiguous, you say, allegations of serious...
No. Well-defined in law. Well-defined.
Well-defined?
For example, yes, 5 years or plus is the understood norm. For example, if you apply for a visa for the United Kingdom, I know Sanjay Dutt applied for a visa for the United Kingdom. Flat rule, if you've been convicted of an offence, 5 years or more, no visa.
Convicted?
So,
but convicted?
Yeah.
Not accused?
No, that's
not charged?
You're talking of we're talking of a definition of a serious offence. A serious offence is defined as one which has a punishment of 5 years or more. Today, you are not being disqualified. You're being said till such time as you are in custody and the custody extends 30 days or more, you will step aside from office. If you're released from custody, you can come back into office. You're not disqualified.
Viewers, my question.
And this will be after prima facie, the highest court has said there is a case against you. So you have, by definition, a person against whom there is a case which deserves his continuance in custody as seen by the courts of the land and not just the magistrate of the lowest court. That's why it says 30 days. Now, there can be an argument on why 30 is too little, make it 45, make it 60. That's a matter of working out the details of the law.
Yeah.
But in principle, it appalls me that people say, so what if he is in jail? It could be that there is a false case against him, therefore allow him to continue.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what we said in 1991.
Yeah.
Why should we say it now?
Well, I've always put this question, viewers, and that's the number. Do you agree with Harish Salve's assessment when he supports the Constitution 130th Amendment Bill 2025, also putting this entire video on digital so that you can have a live polling on it? I will send Mr. Salve the responses with my regards. It's such a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Every time I talk to you, it's mentally stimulating for us. And it's
Always
wonderful.
a pleasure
wonderful.
talking to you, Arnab.
For all people watching the program tonight, the most intellectually stimulating environment is when Harish Salve is arguing before the Supreme Court. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the greats of our jurisprudence. Ram Jethmalani, Harish Salve, Soli Sorabji, when they argue in the courts, people just come there to watch. And it's our pleasure and privilege to be talking to such a legend. Thank you very much, Harish Salve. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnab. Thank you so much.
And now we are opening this up for debate. My first question, we all heard Ram Jethmalani there. Harish Salve there. I'm so sorry. Pooja Mishra of the Samajwadi Party, Ratnakar Tripathi of the Congress, Priyanka Kakkar, Chief National Spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Patabi Ram Komareddy, TDP National Spokesperson. Priyanka, what we'll do is we'll keep it brief. It's a very important debate. And we'll keep our interventions brief and we'll keep it going very fast to make the most of the time. Arvind Kejriwal operating from jail as Chief Minister should be an aberration, not a norm. That's my view. Can you please argue against? How does it help if somebody runs a government from jail? How does it help the people?
Arnab, I think the more important question is what we have to take from what the exclusive you showed of Mr. Harish Salve, who I respect very much, is that he said that PMLA, you cannot get bail under 30 days. Probably that period is too low. In our case, the PMLA court repeatedly said, it is on record, I'm not making it up, you can fact check me, that there is not an iota of evidence against Arvind Kejriwal, and ED ne dvesh ki bhavna se kaam kiya hai. Today, ED is called a crook and CBI is called the caged parrot, and these are repeated observations of the Supreme Court. Now, I'm saying, if you want to go ahead with the bill, please go ahead. But add a proviso to it. Should it turn out that it was a false case, a malicious litigation, should it turn out that you defamed a person and not a penny was recovered from him, then the person who initiated this complaint, this false complaint, the person who signed on the authority to initiate this complaint, they must also undergo a similar imprisonment in jail, and that will keep a balance on both sides. Okay, that is all I'm saying.
Would that also apply to a poor common citizen like me? By which logic? Since I was put in jail.
Why not?
By the Congress government and Uddhav Thackeray, and Chandrachud said, this is a weaponization of the criminal justice system, and there's not even a prima facie case against Arnab Goswami which holds a misuse of the law. Should I then argue that Rahul Gandhi, Uddhav Thackeray, Sonia Gandhi, Sharad Pawar should all be in jail for filing a false case against me? Should Sharad Pawar, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and Uddhav Thackeray be in jail for filing a false case against me?
See, the law...
I'm just using your argument.
Would you not want that if it was malicious? Yes, I'm saying, should it not be the case?
So you're saying that Uddhav Thackeray should be in jail for filing a case against me which was held to be prima facie false by the Supreme Court? Why are you tongue-tied when it comes to that?
Law should be equal for all. I have not seen... No, I'm not.
Mine is the most seminal case in the Supreme Court, quoted everywhere. Arnab Goswami was the state of Maharashtra.
Yes, I know it superficially. I know of it. I've read about it. I know about it. I've read it superficially. I've not gone into the depth of it. But I'm taking your argument on face value and saying, why not? If that was the case, the law should be equal to all. I am saying...
What is your concern?
Because you heard Mr. Salve
What is your concern?
He also told you 30-day period is too little.
What is your concern?
My concern simply is that there is a lot of, I am saying that, there's a lot of malicious litigation that Modi ji has used he's unleashed these agencies against his against the opposition. Earlier, the legitimate way of Kharid Farokht was the way you know of, the way you know. See, there are people who moved from other parties to the BJP. We all know of it. Washing machine mein dhul gaye. Should something be done about it? Suchita lani hai na, nothing should be done about it.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, let me also give you one more argument.
Can I get a response because I wanted to keep it moving? Priyanka, please cooperate with me. Because today I want to do the first debate on national television where Priyanka and Sanju are not speaking over each other.
One last point.
I want to achieve a record.
One last point. I will not be speaking over Sanju ji. Yeah, no, I can't. I never spoke over her. You should see that. I mean, please. Now, all I'm saying is the current laws in the existing forms. It has become very easy to keep anybody behind bars for a period of 90 days under the new laws. You know, you can't just show one side of the story like you showed Mr. Harish Salve. Probably you should have another person of the similar stature arguing the other side, and you will know that too.
Okay, fine. Now let me please get Sanju in. Sanju, see, you must be open to one fact of vendetta. BJP is not about vendetta, right? And here there will be an incentive. If a person is going to get, for example, out of judicial custody, police custody in 15 days, the incentive to keep the person in jail will continue. And it's a very strong power that you are giving to the police. Do you want India to turn into a police state?
You know, Arnab, I heard the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson without heckling her even once. I need my time. Let me say that the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill is historic. And anybody who levels reckless allegations of the BJP wanting to turn India into a police state, let me just give some hard facts for their benefit. Jayalalitha was arrested, Karunanidhi was arrested, Lalu Prasad Yadav was arrested, Kani Modi was arrested, A. Raja was arrested. यहाँ तक कि माधव राव सिंधिया and Rajesh Pilot, so-called Congress loyalists, were arrested. And when did all these arrests happen? All these arrests happened under the long and incompetent nose of erstwhile Congress government. So for Congress or their darbaris to come and sit on national television and lecture the BJP is absolutely unforgivable and unacceptable. Coming to the moot point of Arvind Kejriwal, I remember being on a zillion debates on Arnab Goswami's show prior to the Delhi Assembly election results. And I also remember Priyanka Kakkar and Reena Gupta and Salam Dhamkina saying, अरे हम तो जीत जाएंगे, बीजेपी का कुछ नहीं होगा, ये सब जो ये कह रहे हैं कि केजरीवाल मॉडल हैज फेल्ड, ये सब बीजेपी की फ्रस्ट्रेशन है. दिल्ली की जनता ने केजरीवाल की धज्जियां उड़ाते हुए, he could not even retain his own seat. जनता जनार्दन है, केजरीवाल has been shown the mirror. But let's talk hard facts on the issue at hand. Kejriwal was in jail for 160 days from March 2024 or not to September 2024. This is the same Kejriwal who in 2012 said Caesar's wife should be above suspicion, and if there's even an iota of a whiff of an allegation, मैं इस्तीफा दे दूंगा. This man clung on to his kursi, violating Rule 585 of the jail manual. After he was released in 2024 September, after 48 hours, he takes the moral high ground and anoints Atishi Marlena as the CM. But the irony was not lost on anyone, and it is basically to rein in crooks like Kejriwal, to rein in crooks like Senthil Balaji, to rein in crooks like Konmudi, to ensure that henceforth nobody does an Indira Gandhi on us. When she first violated the constitution by imposing emergency, then violated the constitution by imposing, the 42nd amendment on us, which curbed the power of judicial review of courts, and then she had the audacity to go ahead with the 39th amendment, which gave the Prime Minister, as in then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, unchecked pass. BJP is not like that, but very quickly in 10 seconds. Arvind Kejriwal is still out on bail, which means he's neither innocent nor guilty. So let's not try and paint Arvind Kejriwal with a white brush, जैसे कि ये राजा हरीश चंद्र का चौथा अवतार है. He's still being tried. The case is still sub judice. Supreme Court has not given him a clean check. First point. Second point, Arnab, in 20 seconds. These are the Aam Aadmi Party people out on bail. This will tell you why they are so rattled. Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia out on bail, Sanjay Singh out on bail, Satinder Jain out on bail, Amanatullah Khan out on bail, Somnath Bharti out on bail, 1 minute, Naresh Bali out on bail, Naresh Yadav out on bail, Sandeep Kumar out on bail, Sharad Chauhan out on bail, Prakash Jagwal out on bail, Jitendra Tomar out on bail, Akhilesh Tripathi
Ashok Chavan was also out on bail.
Vijay Singla out on bail, Manoj Kumar out on bail, Bhaggu Wala out on bail, Raman Swami out on bail, Gulab Singh Yadav out on bail. ये सारी की सारी आम आदमी पार्टी की जो टॉप ब्रास है, they are out on bail. उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटते, चोरी ऊपर से सीना जोरी. You guys are not ashamed of yourself. You know,
I think I should let Priyanka have a response.
Era of the Congress.
I think I should let Priyanka have a response on that.
I think arrest somebody, you say that is judicial process. But when Kejriwal is arrested, that is not judicial process.
Sanju,
You want
Sanju.
पट भी मेरा ऐसा नहीं चलेगा.
Sanju, be realistic. Sanju, be realistic out here, right? Today, your government has allowed people who are in jail to fight elections. You are the party that has allowed anti-national elements to come out and fight elections.
We are rectifying a wrong or not?
In Kashmir,
what's wrong with that? We are trying to rectify a wrong.
you have let Engineer Rashid become a big leader. He's anti-national, everybody knows it. You let Engineer Rashid, you let Amritpal out of jail to contest and become a politician. He's a known anti-national. Pro-Khalistani.
You talk about Rahul Gandhi. We are trying to ensure he goes behind bars for 7 years in the national.
Your idea is...
We are trying to ensure Tejasvi Yadav, as per the law of the land, goes behind
Is this law being brought in for Tejasvi Yadav and Lalu Prasad?
So Arvind Kejriwal is somebody who you support. Arnab Goswami, tell me honestly.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Arvind Kejriwal.
Forget who I support, but I'm saying, is this focused on Lalu? See, it's not good to bring a law focused on an individual. I have no love lost for Rahul Gandhi.
Individuals have played a big role in ensuring that this law finally comes into play. Currently, it's a bill.
See, I support this law, but I have some questions. I support the law because you can't attend meetings from jail, you can't go among people in jail, you can't respond to a crisis in jail, whether it's an earthquake or an economic crisis. So I support the law, but I am concerned about potential misuse at the same time. Right? I can't say I'm not concerned about it.
So there will be checks and balances. Or not, there will be
हमारे देश में checks and balances है. जब ये प्रतिस्पर्धा होती है बड़े-बड़े नेताओं के बीच में, कहाँ check है, कहाँ balance है? जब नेता पक्ष प्रतिपक्ष सबके बीच में open fight होती है.
अरे अर्नब गोस्वामी जी, नरेंद्र मोदी को 20 साल तक, from 2002 to 2022, Narendra Modi was hounded by the Latvians Lashkar gang. Did we complain? Did he complain?
Okay, Ratnakar Tripathi and Pooja, we have to open up the debate. I have to allow the others in. Ratnakar Tripathi. And then, please, let's get everyone in.
Why are people playing the victim card today?
Okay. Ratnakar Tripathi's turn. Ratnakar Tripathi, it's a good bill.
नहीं.
कानून व्यवस्था कौन संभालेगा, जनता से कौन जुड़ा रहेगा, जनहित में काम कौन करेगा अगर सब नेता पक्ष प्रतिपक्ष हो जेल से सब कुछ चलाए. रत्नाकर त्रिपाठी, योर टर्न.
अर्नब गोस्वामी जी, एक दमनकारी बिल है. अच्छा बिल, दमनकारी बिल है. हिंदी में बोलो.
Translate this into English. दमनकारी means tyrannical.
Atrocious bill.
Okay, atrocious bill.
My pronunciation is not that good.
Oh, whatever. More or less.
From you. Now let me go uninterruptedly. I listened to Harish Salve. He formulated his argument in a very sharp way and omitted many things. He omitted 1998, he omitted 2002, he omitted 2025, 7th August 2025. Let me narrate about the observation of the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Gavaiji, on 7th August 2025 to ED. He said, even when they are not convicted, you have been successfully sentenced them almost without a trial for years. One thing. And the same judgment, and in the same judgment, Justin Bhuyan said to ED, don't act like a crook. You cannot act like a crook. You must act within the four corners of the law. There is a difference between the law enforcement agencies and the law violating bodies. This is the trust. That is what I'm saying. In 1998, a constitutional bench of Supreme Court decided.
Just one point, Ratnakar Tripathi. You know, earlier times, you only continue.
Please, sir.
No, in earlier times, a politician कोई लज्जा होती, लज्जा के साथ out of moral responsibility, people would resign. अभी fashion statement है, कोई quit नहीं करता है. Not resigning has become a fashion statement.
No. Constitution bench को आप fashion बोलते हैं. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बेंच ने कहा कि आपको प्रोसिक्यूशन के लिए परमिशन लेनी होगी प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर से. पार्लियामेंट में लोकसभा के स्पीकर से, राज्यसभा में चेयरमैन से। और अभी आपके सामने हरीश साल्वे ने कहा कि इम्यूनिटी है इन द एक्ट ऑफ ऑफिस एक्ट में। आप अगर सड़क पे हत्या करते पकड़े जाते हैं, आप सस्पेंड हो जाएंगे, आप चले जाएंगे। यही सेम इम्यूनिटी आप गलत बोल रहे हैं।
What will happen to the people, Ratnakar Tripathi? In Delhi, the system collapsed.
Let me narrate it. Let me tell it to you. It is also for the officials. Even ये government बोलेगी, trying to present themselves in the knight in the shining armor of the morality. They have amended the prevention of corruption.
No, Ratnakar Tripathi, you are misquoting the court.
They have amended the Prevention of Corruption Act in 2018. Stating that, please Arnab Goswami जी, आपने बहुत झूठ बोला, सबको सही बात बोलने दीजिए। उन्होंने ये कहा है कि प्रोसिक्यूशन को परमिशन लेनी पड़ेगी उस अधिकारी के लिए भी जो रिटायर हो चुका है। ये बताएंगे अगर किसी आदमी दहेज हत्या में पकड़ा गया।
No, 1 minute, sir, all this, 1 minute, opening it up, 1 minute, I want everyone to come in, I want everyone to come in, I want Patabi Ram Komareddy to come in. Mr. Komareddy, let's move fast.
Yeah, Arnab, first of all, let's think what necessitated the introduction of this bill. It is because of the shameless and reckless acts of people like Arvind Kejriwal, Satyendra Jain, Sendil Balaji, who have remained as chief ministers and ministers in jail for months together. Do you support that? Can a chief minister be in jail and run the government for 6 months? We have heard Harish Salve ji talking about moral values in the past. He had given us an example of Advani ji. Just because there was an allegation on him, he had resigned. But where are those values now? People like Kejriwal, and others, if they are, keeping aside all moral values and they are saying that we will be in jail and act as chief minister, do you support it? Tomorrow some other XYZ will come and, try to break Kejriwal's record. Do you support it? No. This is high time. We have to bring, because this incidents like these necessitated the introduction of this bill. How did Paneer Selvam become chief minister twice? It is because Jayalalitha ji resigned. At the time she was arrested, she resigned and Paneer Selvam became chief minister. What did Hemant Soren do? Hemant Soren resigned before he was arrested.
So you are saying all the problem is because of Kejriwal?
Yeah, people like these shameless people like
You're calling
Kejriwal.
Kejriwal shameless.
All these
Priyanka.
have necessitated the introduction of this bill.
Priyanka, you become very patient and forgiving nowadays. Earlier you used to be very aggressive. Nowadays, your leader is being called shameless on 2 occasions by the BJP and the TDP, and you have this smile on your face.
And when have you started supporting Kejriwal? Why you?
I am not supporting, I am making an observation. Why are you jumping? Sanju, I am
Kejriwal or Arnab Goswami, why? What's your compulsion? Please, खुलासा करिए. केजरीवाल के भक्त कब से बन गए Arnab Goswami? आप केजरीवाल के भक्त
Sanju is looking for a viral moment. Sanju is looking for a viral moment where she asked Arnab a question.
Oh my God, I don't need to look because every debate goes viral.
I am saying here, Arvind Kejriwal ran a government from jail. Now, before you come in, I must be fair to Pooja, and then I'll come to you, Priyanka, for a response here. Pooja, I want to play a clip for you.
Sure.
A clip, मैं audio clip play करना चाहता हूँ. This is, I don't know if the Hindi channel can just give this to the English channel. We had this clip when we launched Republic TV. We had a clip of a Lalu Prasad in conversation with Shahabuddin. It is very important. Okay, we'll get it in a minute. Do you want that kind of situation where governments are run from jail? Do you actually want it?
We want that kind of situation where false charges are not imposed on leaders just because they are from opposition. So we want that situation. Satyendra Jain, now this BJP spokesperson, she talked about him, and you know that his case is shut down. His case has been closed, and he was in the jail for 2.5 years. And you were asking the BJP spokesperson that why this bill has been brought. Who is the target? Let me tell you, the Naidu and Nitish is the target. They are trying to threaten them. because the vice president, they might change their mind, because the vice president candidate from the India bloc is such a person that he's a legal person. He can be the legal referee for the as vice president.
Should we not have
So
clean
they want to
politics?
target
Sanju,
them,
let her complete.
and that's
Sanju,
why
let
they
her
put
complete.
this bill.
Clean politics.
Sanju, let her complete. Let her, she has a right to complete, please.
Facts speak louder than the words. Facts speak louder than the words. And the fact says...
Puja louder. 1 minute. Sanju, a minute, please.
You want me to be louder? And the fact says that 95% of ED and CBI cases are imposed over the opposition leader. And out of that 95%, the conviction rate is even less than 0.5. And you are saying that this bill it appears to be fair. It appears to be that. And how can you forget Hemant Biswa Sharma? When he was in Congress 2014, the CBI was knocking his door. And when in 2015 he joined the BJP, until now no single question has been asked to him. Why we forget the Subhendu Adhikari, the Mukul Roy, the Narayan Rane, and Nitish and Naidu? When Nitish left the NDA and joined India bloc, the CBI started knocking his door. When Naidu did the same thing, the ED started knocking their doors. But at the time when they joined BJP, nothing happens. You are fine. So their target is to just impose the cases.
No, first of all, okay, Pooja, let's get Sanju to respond to you, please. Sanju.
टोंटी चोर बुलाते हैं आपके अखिलेश यादव को लोग टोंटी चोर बुलाते हैं मैडम प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी हैज एन इम्पेक्केबल रेप्यूटेशन यूनियन होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह के बारे में बोलने की आपकी हैसियत नहीं है अमित शाह जी के बारे में बोलने की आपकी औकात नहीं है आई एम ग्लैड दैट आई बिलोंग टू अ पार्टी with leaders like India.
You guys are exercising, you are exploiting the rules, you are exploiting your power, you are doing the power abuse. You are in power and you are doing the power abuse. Can you justify 95% since 2014, 2025, 95% cases are imposed over the opposition leader and conviction is 0.5.
Sanju.
And in acquittal out of
I would like two points here. You think, Mr. Komareddy, can you explain here? Is this a pressure tactic on you? Samajwadi Party is saying that BJP is trying to put pressure on you before the vice presidential elections because they don't trust Chandrababu Naidu.
Not at all, Arnab. See, we have been seeing from the past 14 months the manner in which both the BJP, TDP and also Janasena, our alliance partner in Andhra Pradesh, have been working together so wonderfully, and the kind of support we are getting from the Honorable Prime Minister in every aspect. So we don't see this as a kind of a pressure tactic.
Okay,
See,
one question I have here
was put
one question I have here. Usually,
the pressure here was put.
No, is this an admission indirectly? Here's a question: is this an admission? Pooja, 1 minute. Is this an admission? My question is this with Sanju and Ratnakar and Priyanka Kakkar. Is this an admission that the government or governments of the day are not sure about convictions at the end of investigation? Because usually if there's a conviction, the person goes. But if you're not sure that you're going to quickly arrive at a conviction, then you may want to leave this door open. Priyanka, also, Sanju and others have said that it is because of you that they have been forced to bring this law. Because of what they call the shamelessness of the Aam Aadmi Party in the case of Arvind Kejriwal.
देखिए that is why I was smiling. अंडम नींद उड़ा रखी है अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने अभी भी इनकी. I don't want others to interrupt this because you see I know that you understand the PMLA law. I could gauge that from your discussion with Mr. Hari Salve. You very well know there will be no, even under normal laws, let alone PMLA, even under normal laws, 90 days kind of will soon you will see become the norm under the new BNSS and BNS. That is a possibility.
Sanju,
and now PMLA
I'll
again,
I'll come to you right after that, Sanju. I promise you. Mics have fallen.
See,
somebody.
Kejriwal has not been given a clean check.
Priyanka, your mic has fallen. Lift your mic. Your mic has fallen, Priyanka. Priyanka, your mic.
Has Kejriwal been given
I really.
The answer is no.
Sure.
Has Manish Sisodia
I can't talk like this.
The answer is no.
I mean.
Has Sanjay Singh
Sanju, louder.
clean chit? The answer is no.
Sanju ji,
When your
prove your
Bhagwant
argument,
Mann government
you probably
arrests
not
Supal
have
Khera, a Congress leader in Punjab, you say, wah ji wah.
आपको
The
थोड़ा
law has
PMLA
taken
का
its
law
course.
पड़ेगा संजू जी मोदी जी वोट चोर है अभी सुन रहा है आपको मोदी जी वोट चोर है मोदी जी की डिग्री नकली है सुन रहा है अभी अब आप प्लीज
केजरीवाल को अभी भी क्लीन चिट नहीं मिली है मैडम, इसलिए शांत हो जाओ।
अर्नब सुनिए ना, आपको मैं बताती हूँ, आपको you are not, you don't have enough knowledge about the PMLA laws. I would like to speak to Arnab, who will understand this point.
Sanju, she's saying that under PMLA laws,
आपको PMLA laws की knowledge नहीं है।
Sharad Chauhan is still being tried. Ghulam Singh Yadav of Aam Aadmi Party is still being tried. All your leaders are still facing trial, either for corruption or for rape cases or sexual assault or blackmail.
संजू जी, हम असली डिग्री वालों से हैं। संजू जी, हमारी डिग्रियां असली हैं। PMLA laws ऐसे नहीं काम करते। Let me explain to you, संजू जी. I heard your point.
आपके लीडर जितेंद्र सिंह तोमर की डिग्री का सच जग जाहिर है। जितेंद्र सिंह तोमर सर ही लॉयर,
प्रधानमंत्री
वो तो छठी पास भी नहीं है। आपके जितेंद्र सिंह तोमर तो छठी पास भी नहीं है। And your केजरीवाल got into IAS through और IRS और IPS।
मोदी जी चौथी पास भी नहीं है और कहते हैं इंटायर पॉलिटिकल साइंस की डिग्री है।
No personal fights.
केजरीवाल
I think that
you'll have to control this.
no, it's impossible to control this right now.
I want to put my point across on PMLA, which you will understand. She won't. You know that, Arnab. It is beyond her comprehension. Don't do that.
Kejriwal is a crook. I just know money.
She doesn't know PMLA laws.
Okay.
She doesn't know. ED is
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a complex issue. There has to be a strong discussion on it. I'm just surprised it was brought in the last 2 days of Parliament. And obviously it will be debated.
So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, Arnab? Why do you have a problem if it was brought in the last 2 days?
I don't have a problem. I'm saying we should have had a longer debate on it.
Today Arnab Goswami doesn't seem to be like the Arnab Goswami I know. For some reason, he's going so soft on Arvind Kejriwal. I don't understand what's his compulsion.
Are Baba Sanju Verma, I have been too long into this journalism to go soft on anyone. I am saying that I believe there are good things about the law, but we also have to be skeptical about some provisions. That's all I'm saying. I hope you don't arrest me for that. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for that debate. Ladies and gentlemen. Everyone's in such an aggressive mood these days. I say it's time to be vigilant because our real danger is Donald Trump and the deep state. I'll tell you why when I'm back.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Is born. Introducing the Phantom Black Edition by Grand Vitara. Nexa.